I hear a lot of rhetoric about people talking down on orthomolecular medicine, saying that there isn't double-blind randomized studies done. When we had this study done in, you said, 1952. So how come the psychiatric movement hasn't picked up on this study? And
the simple answer is that they're ignorant. If you don't read the literature, that's the conclusion you're going to come to. In fact, we did 6 double-blind studies between 1952 and 1960. And there was a double-blind done by Dr. Wittenborn in New Jersey under a grant from the National Institute of Mental Health. He did a major double-blind controlled study in New Jersey long after we had done ours, and he confirmed everything we had said. So there have been a lot of double-blinds, but if you ask any psychiatrist, they simply don't even know about it. Now, one of the problems was that the medical journals won't accept our papers. There's a blackout. They have tried to block out anything that has to do with orthomolecular medicine. In fact, right now, you've heard of Medline. Medline is the abstracting service by the United States Library of Congress that abstracts all the scientific journals all around the world. They won't cover our journal. I'm the editor of the Journal of Orthomolecular Medicine, and they won't cover our journal. So we're fighting with them over that now. So if anyone tells you that, simply tell them that you're ignorant. You don't know what you're talking about.
And why would they resist this information? Why do you think that they're blacking it out?
Because they're afraid of it. There's no money. The treatment for schizophrenia today is controlled by the drug companies, and they work with drugs that they can patent. You understand that? That means that every 15 years they have to change their drugs because the patents run out. And when the first tranquilizers came in 1955. They're very effective. In other words, you see a rapid result. You take a psychotic patient and the next day he's sleeping. You get a very dramatic response. They don't get well, but you can certainly knock them down. Now, these were publicized by the drug companies who made millions out of them. The first year that the tranquilizers came on the market, they probably spent $50 million advertising them. No one has advertised vitamins because there's no money in it. You can't take a patent on vitamins.
You mentioned also about the tranquilizers that in the long term they had detrimental effects.
They don't allow you to get well. That's right. Now, I use tranquilizer because in combination with our program, they do work together pretty well. In other words, you can use the tranquilizers for their rapid, immediate response if you have to control your patient. At the same time, you start them on the orthomolecular treatment approach. And as they get well, you gradually withdraw the drug until eventually they are taking none or very small amounts. And we published our material. The books have been published. The book, How to Live with Schizophrenia, that I published with Dr. Osmond, I think first published in 62 or 64. Over the years, it's sold over 100,000 copies. So the public knows a lot more about this than the profession does. And I keep hearing from patients all the time who write me and tell me that they treat it themselves. I just got a letter the other day from a man who was worried about his fiancée who was becoming psychotic. So then in his letter to me, he says, my mother was schizophrenic 25 years ago, he says. She read your book. She went on to your vitamins. She's been well ever since. So I keep getting that kind of information all the time. Now, I must admit that the situation is getting a bit more tolerable because the idea that the vitamins might help schizophrenic patients is not as crazy anymore as it used to be. And many universities are now beginning to look at this. But it's still going to take another 10 to 15 years. And I can tell you that since you're working in France, that the worst place in the world for orthomolecular treatment today is Europe. In fact, they're trying to suppress the use of vitamins there.
With the codex issue. And you don't think that the codex eventually through World Trade harmonization is going to impact the United States?
I don't think it will because the United States is pretty powerful. And I don't think it'll have much impact in Canada because in Canada, vitamins are considered drugs. They're over the counter, but they're considered drugs, and the European Union, the codex has nothing to do with drugs, it just has to do with nutrients. But anyway, I'm hoping not. But if they ever take vitamins off, there'll be a fantastic black market developing in vitamins, just worse than what is today with cocaine or drugs. Because people who are well on vitamins are not going to take kindly to losing whatever is keeping them well. So that's briefly the situation.